with UFC 309, John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Some fights, or a fight that some people weren't sure was actually going to happen or not. They had been talking about it for a minute. Stipe Miocic coming in, every bit of what, like 42 years old. He is 42 years old.
Oh yeah.
And then John Jones not getting any younger, right? We're not sure, like, after he beats Cyril Gane, is he just going to continue fighting? Is he just going to leave one and done in the heavyweight division? But it happened. Will went down. UFC 309.
Yeah, like you said, going into it, everyone's like, I don't know if it's gonna happen because they book it after the Cyril Gane fight, and then it John it's a long time making that fight happen, and it's finally like booked, and then he tears his pec, and so there's a long recovery for that. In the meantime, Tom Aspinall gets an interim belt, defends the interim belt. They still do this fight. Everyone's kind of like
What is going
watching
on?
watching the lead up. It's like, man, the entire UFC brass just working overtime, being like, I don't know why the odds are so stacked on John Jones. Like, Stipe is such a big underdog. I don't know. I don't get it. And you're like, because he's 42 and hasn't fought for 3
In
years.
a while. Hasn't fought in a while. Has been
Yeah.
inactive. It'd be different if he was active the entire time. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, he basically retired, and then John calling him out he was like, all right, that's a lot of money. I'll do that. That's
Dude, I
basically where his
guarantee
career
you
was at.
he was working at the, fire station, probably just got home, enjoying a couple brewskis, saw John Jones call him out, and then he was like, which in Stipe language means, "I guess I'll take another fight,"
Money?
make ma I'm sure he got a decent payday for it.
Oh yeah.
But man, it would have been nice to see Stipe, have, kind of just rode off into the sunset and have it be what it is, right? John Jones with the title. If he wants to fight Aspinall. If not, that's it, whatever. But man, it was just, for me, somebody that was a big Stipe fan, watching him come back. Not that he looked awful, not that he looked
Didn't look great.
terrible, but he was definitely looking a lot slower
I
than
mean,
I
yeah,
last remember him.
they talked about it in the press conference after, and Dana was like, "Well, he only looked like that after he ate all the body kicks." And it's like, yeah, I don't know about that. The first exchange he threw, his arms were he was turning his whole torso with his punches instead of like throwing his hands, you know? Like he looked slow. Um and yeah, he's 40 fucking 2 and he hasn't fought in 3 years. Of course he looks slow.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
it
then
is what it is. John did
John
look
Jones.
fantastic.
He looked amazing, man. He looked so good. I don't want to take anything away from John Jones.
Yeah.
He looks like he's head and shoulders, his skill set, above anybody else in the
Yeah.
heavyweight division. And look, that's saying
Not
something
just the
because
heavyweight
I've been a
division.
huge Aspinall fan. We've said it since day one. Aspinall was going to be a champion, right? We've been rooting for Aspinall for quite some time. And Aspinall, I've said, looks like a middleweight fighting at heavyweight. His
Mhm.
speed, his power, he's well rounded. But still, man, seeing John Jones the way that we got to see him last night, the effortless trip, like
Well, that was cool because
his
the
fight
way
IQ.
yeah, the way he hit that was cool because John has always thrown those, like, side kicks to the lead knee, right? And
Yeah,
he threw that, and Stipe kinda lifted his leg out of the way, so he stepped past him and then was like, "Alright," and then just chopped him with his left arm and tabletopped him basically that outside trip off of that stepped side kick to the knee. Really cool. I don't think he hits that from on Tom Aspinall. I think part of that is because Stipe's hips and his knees are shot, and he's not limber at all. And no disrespect to Stipe, but he's been doing it a long time, and this sport is
got a lot of
in
miles.
that way. Yeah, it's just unforgiving that way. And you see him on the ground, and he's not engaging his legs, and John's mauling him with elbows from the top. That makes John look very good because he is, but that doesn't happen with Tom Aspinall. This fight looks
Mhm.
very different if it's Tom across from him. It's just
Yeah,
that's the fact. Because
yep,
even as the fight progressed, Stipe started landing on John. He did. And well, look at Rich on the timing on those pictures. I didn't know
yep.
that picture was next. Um, but it's just a very different fight. I'm not saying, like you said, I don't want to take anything away from John Jones, but part of why he looked so phenomenal is because of who was across from him. You know what I
I've
mean?
been one of the biggest John Jones critics for the longest time. Anybody that's been watching the podcast knows this. Um, but
Which I don't
y you know,
understand.
so
He's such a good guy. I don't know what you're going to critique about him.
but, sometimes you get these fights where you're like, "Why are they making this fight?" And then you say, "Okay, this person, based off of what I know, what we've studied, should come in and maul this other person. It should be
Mhm.
a walk in the park for this other." And sometimes it doesn't happen
True.
the way we expect it to, and we're like, "Okay, well, it makes them look bad." In this case, yes, John Jones looked phenomenal
Mhm.
against an older, slower Stipe, but John Jones did what John Jones was supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely did. He definitely did. The mauling was crazy. There was a point in the first round where he was on top, and you can hear his corner say "new rules," and he starts bam 12-6 elbow. Those were nasty.
They
The
should have been
front
like,
kick to the
"Jones
body.
elbows."
Yeah, Matt Hamill, Matt Hamill. Um, the front kick to the body was nasty. That snap
Yeah,
kick.
oh, yeah.
You
Hurt
could tell it
Stipe a
hurts.
couple times.
It did hurt Stipe a couple times. Um, yeah, I mean, he looked very good. He was cracking. Stipe still got a granite chin. Like Jesus Christ, some of the shots he took, even just the ground and pound in the first round, that puts people out. That was
Yeah,
crazy. He was taking
yeah.
on big shots. Um, and then the creative fashion, just like John Jones' whole career, fucking throws that turning sidekick to the body, right to the ribs. God damn, up against the fence. He got
Brutal.
Stipe up against the fence, and he cracks him with that spin. And, yeah, drops him.
When it was live and you just got to hear it live, and
Oh, man.
it sounded
Look at
so
that,
bad.
dude. That is
But yeah,
nasty,
John
dude.
Jones, man.
Fantastic
So
shot there.
speed, power, the wrestling, his creative striking, violent ground and pound. Um, it
Takedowns
was
were unique.
it was it was impressive, and to say that still at this point in John Jones' career,
Yeah,
and so this is the thing. So when he was fighting like heavyweight, he went away from finishing fights. All his fights were going the distance.
mhm.
And you're kind of wondering to yourself, man, like, is he just starting to slow down? What's going on? And he's fighting young up and coming fighters in some cases at 205. Now he's in a division where, like I said, I feel like outside of Tom Aspinall, he's head and shoulders above everybody else.
Yeah.
Cyril Gone, not as well rounded, right?
No,
Uh,
definitely not. And we saw that in their fight.
Volkov, Sergey Pavlovich, Curtis Blades,
Yeah,
Jolton Almeida.
nobody else.
I mean, what else is it? So let's say that okay, let's go to the post fight press conference. They're asking John Jones what's next. Even in the post fight interview, he's like, you know what? I just decided I'm not going to retire, and the
Yeah.
crowd goes nuts. And then he's like, all right, well, who do you want to fight next? And he's like, well, we'll get with Uncle Dana, we'll get with Uncle Hunter, right? And we'll see what it is that they decide to do, what we decide to do. And I mean, at the post fight press conference, then he says, I don't want to fight a Tom Aspinall. Being very honest about it.
Yeah.
Very honest. He says he wants to fight with Pereira.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, yeah, then lose the belt. Ditch the belt. If you're turning down the interim champ in your division, then you gotta lose the belt. I'm fine with him fighting Alex Pereira,
Which he
but
said, I don't
he's
care about the belt. He said,
yeah, yeah. So if that's the case, then yeah, do it. If you're the UFC,
I don't
um,
want to see it.
I'm fine seeing it, but I would rather see the Tom Aspinall fight at heavyweight, if I'm being honest.
Me too.
But yeah, if they're gonna do that, two things have to happen. You gotta he has to relinquish the belt, and I think Pereira has to fight Ankalaev before that fight happens. Like we can't.
Shout out to Ghost. Thanks for joining us, Ghost. Really appreciate it.
Hey,
Yeah.
what's up, boys? I can't stay long, but that was awful hyperbolizing by the broadcast crew. What is new? That is their bread and butter.
He says, I love that people are saying that Tom has no chance. Maybe both John and Tom should agree to fight to test that theory, right?
It's
If
almost like that's
only.
the whole game.
And look, so again, if he doesn't fight Tom Aspinall, he says he doesn't care about the heavyweight belt. He relinquishes it. Not a big
Mhm.
deal. He wants to fight a legacy fight. Pereira is a huge name right now. Some would say probably the biggest star in the UFC at the moment.
Yeah,
Um, John Jones being able to say, I beat another person that y'all consider to be the best of the best. Huge for his legacy. But look, for me as a Pereira fan, I don't want to see that. And I'm just thinking of
yeah.
it strictly from being a Pereira fan.
Well, I mean, stylistically, that's an easier fight for John, obviously,
Yeah.
than versus the Tom fight. The problem is like this whole legacy thing, this whole legacy talk is like it like eventually. the legacy of John for some people will be, yeah, but he ducked Steve or Tom the whole time. If he fights again and it's
Exactly.
not Tom, that'll always be a thing of, yeah, but he didn't fight Tom when they could have made that fight multiple times and he didn't, and
So
he chose
what
two other people.
was it 3 or 4 title defenses for Stipe? That's the
Three,
record. 3.
I believe it was three.
So what would be bigger for John Jones' legacy? That he defends a title more times than Stipe and goes down as the record holder for most title defenses in the heavyweight division, or that he
Mhm.
relinquishes the belt, fights Pereira, and beats Pereira?
Easily the heavyweight route, in my
Right?
opinion. Because
Right?
now this is
That's
one.
that's what I'm
If
thinking.
he and if he beats Tom, it's only one more, and who's gonna even give him problems?
Yeah.
That's the easy route. If he just has to get past Tom. If he gets past Tom, easy money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%, man. So
But that being
if
said, stylistically, going back to 205, I don't know if they would what they would do with that if they do it at 205 or at heavyweight if Pereira comes up. But um, I that fight is a cool fight. Don't get me wrong, it's a very cool fight. But I
Pereira versus John Jones would probably be one of the most viewed fights in UFC history.
probably, yeah, I could see that. That being said, 9 times out of 10, it's probably John taking him down and mauling him with those elbows.
Path of least
John doesn't take
resistance.
John doesn't take chances anymore, dude. He does what
Path of
is
least resistance.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly, which is very good.
Yeah.
Coach
Well,
said, I DM'd Will something, but the UFC should give John or Jones Saudi sports washing money to fight Tom and Fededa on the same night after they renew a new TV deal. That's how you start a deal.
and
But
then
yeah, again,
Stipe
well, this is
retires.
yeah, and this is like the whole crux of the entire thing of the pre-fight. All the talk from the UFC is it's crazy that he's such an underdog in this fight. People are overlooking Steve. I don't understand it. I can't comprehend why he's such an underdog. And then post-fight, Joe's like, "Is this what are you gonna do next? Is this the last one?" He's like, "Yeah, it's the last one." And he just like walks away. He's like, "What?
Yeah, dude, like,
Never even
duh.
thought about
It, wa-
continuing this."
it was the last one on the last one. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is for real the last one this time.
Yeah, and I
Hey,
love
but
Stipe. No pageantry, no gloves off, no ceremony, no tears.
yeah,
Just yeah, I'm done. I don't need this shit, and then just walks away. Classic
yeah,
Stipe.
dude. Yeah,
Classic.
and congratulations to Stipe for an amazing career.
100%.
Future
Love
Hall of
Stipe.
Famer, right? He's gonna go down as one of the best to ever do it at the heavyweight division.
Yeah,
It's
probably the
unfortunate
second
that
best heavyweight of all time, right?
behind who?
Fedor.
Of course. Okay,
But
just
if
want
you're
to make
going
sure we're on the same
UFC,
page.
yeah, if you're going UFC only, then yeah, Stipe. But I mean, Fedor.
Oh man, and I hate like because whenever we have this conversation, I always start thinking about Kane.
I know it could have been, dude.
What could have
He easily
been?
could have been the best. Yeah,
Oh man.
Kane on his best night still might be the best heavyweight I've ever seen. Like in a
Regen.
single
Hey, shout out
performance.
Regen. Thanks for joining
Hey,
us,
shout out
Regen.
Regen.
If Tom goes on to become the greatest heavyweight of all time, it will most certainly affect John's legacy. That's a really good point.
That's the
If
other thing.
if Tom runs the table and everybody we just named off, right? Because so we did this with John Jones. Now let's do it with Aspinall. Aspinall versus Cyril Gahn.
Mhm.
Who
Yeah,
you
I
got?
mean, Aspinall.
Volkov?
It's a fun fight. It's a fun fight. He already beat Volkov once, right? See him
Pavlovich?
doing it again.
Already beat Pavlovich.
Already knocked him out.
Blades? Almeida? Spivak?
Yeah, I mean,
Uh, he could also run the table.
he's already
And it's not
defended
like
the belt once.
And it's not like Tom is gonna be like, "Let me go to another weight division now and drop to
No,
205 to be a double champ."
Tom's
He's
a
a big
heavyweight.
boy, dude. That's not gonna happen. He's a
Yeah,
natural heavyweight, so he can really run the table for the next few years, dude.
yeah. What I don't like too is before the fight, someone John was talking. He's like, "Why is there like I'm gonna fight after this? I want fun fights, fights guys my own size." Basically alluding like Tom's got a huge size advantage on me, and it's like, bro, your whole career was your size advantage. What are you talking about? Like he was
Yeah.
fighting guys that used to fight at middleweight for a lot of his career. I'm not gonna go down the road of tarnishing John's legacy or his career because it is very impressive, obviously. But Lyoto Machida fought at middleweight, Vitor Belfort, middleweight, Chael Sonnen, middleweight. Like a lot of those guys were much smaller than John. So for him to be like, it's not fair that you guys want me to fight these bigger guys. Like you went up to heavyweight. No one made you go to heavyweight. You did. And you fought with a size advantage your whole entire career. So John's just so good at getting under my fucking skin, dude. He's
I
so
know.
slimy, dude.
Hey, rare W though from John Jones. Did you see the whole thing with the kid that has cancer and he ends
No.
up scoring him? So there's this kid that he met that just recently was diagnosed, right? During
Mhm,
the press conference before the fight, he's like, "Hey, before we start talking about anything else, I met this kid, and he's recently diagnosed with cancer." He's like, "Look at him, he's right over there, beautiful smile." He goes, "Dana, can we get him tickets? Can we make sure they're good seats?" At the end of
mhm.
the fight, when he's walking out, that's the kid that he stopped to talk to
Oh,
on
okay.
the way out. And I was like, "Hey,
That's
dude,
cool.
rare W for John Jones,
Yeah. Used to be
right?"
common.
Making up for some of the previous choices.
You gotta
Uh,
chip away, dude.
hey, how do you eat an elephant, dude? One bite at a
Yeah.
time, you
One
know?
bite at a time, dude. How do you overcome the long list of,
W-
line
One
stepping?
good deed at a time, my friend. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on the main event, sir?
I mean, not really. There wasn't much, to be honest. John, for still at this day and age, still somebody that people should look to just for creativity's sake, because the guy's mind in the fight is still fucking
I'm telling you, that
flawless.
fight IQ. That fight IQ
Yeah.
is amazing. Hey, everybody. Ramiro and Will here. Thank you so much for watching that short clip. It's just a small clip of what we covered this last Sunday.
Yeah, if you want to check out the full fight card recap, the link is in the description, and it's going to be on screen at the end here. And don't forget to go back and watch our fighter interviews that we have. And don't forget to tune in live every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and you can join in on the fun.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Goes a long way. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching that short clip from Story of the Fight.